everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and I am an Australian artist. So today I've actually decided to do a little simple illustration. I actually had something else planned for my recent video. However, I needed my airbrush and I actually ordered a compressor for my airbrush and it came, and it turns out I needed a part which I didn't have, so I guess I have to wait for that to arrive before I can finish that illustration. But anyways, I decided to do a little mixed media illustration here on my mixed media card, and I decided to do an illustration of a young girl walking through a field of sunflowers, and I would just use my markers and my watercolors and some pencils and just have a little bit of fun with drawing and just, try and relax and just get a nice cute little drawing. Now this is actually a smaller illustration. It's about half the size of usual, but that's okay. So after I got it all lined up nicely, I actually went into the background first, mainly because this was going to be the lightest color and the brightest part of the illustration. So I just put a nice little layer of water down before I added some blue watercolors. Now I did this in a sort of way that it was sort of lighter at the top in the middle, but also sort of goes a little bit lighter at the bottom as well. And that's mainly because during the middle of the day, or mostly at the start, all of the time you'll see a little bit of a gradient where it'll be a little bit lighter as it gets closer to the horizon. However, I also wanted the top to be really light as well, because that's where I wanted to allude to the sun. Because in this illustration I really wanted to have her sort of facing the sun and having the sun be really bright in the middle of the illustration, but sort of off camera, I guess, where it's just like the brightness and the sort of beams coming down a little bit. So yeah, I actually kept that very light and subtle at the top, and then after that I went in with some nice greens over where I wanted the bushy plants to be. Now I did this really carefully around the flowers, but I didn't care too much about going over the top of the plants because I was going to add another layer for the flowers, leaves and stems and stuff. After that I went in with some nice darker greens, mainly on the trees in the corners and also the leaf on the left hand side, and also I decided to go in with the sunflower on the right hand bottom side as well. Now I wanted those to be a little bit darker, those parts of the illustration, mainly because the background and sort of midground are really bright and sunny, so I wanted to add a little bit of contrast as well, because if there's a bright light behind those trees, you're obviously going to see some light peeking through, but it's going to be silhouetted a fair bit. Now it's time to go in with the yellow of the sunflowers. Now I tried to keep it a very bright yellow color because sunflowers themselves are a very bright sort of yellow color, and I just wanted to make sure it was very saturated and colorful, because I want this illustration to be really sweet and colorful, that kind of thing. For the brown parts of the sunflowers where the seeds usually are, and that dark inner part, I actually decided to go in with a slight wet on wet technique to try and get some little interesting patterns. Now I used the two brown colors that I have here in my watercolor set. I believe it's sepia and burnt umber or burnt sienna, one of those. And I actually decided just to do little dots and sort of let the watercolor blend out and do that little bloom effect that it really does, that I really like. Now for this illustration you could tell that the leaf on the left hand side and the sunflower on the right hand side, and also her legs at the bottom, they're actually sort of coming out of the border that I've made with the tape. Now this is because I wanted those just to pop out of the border, because sometimes I like to do stuff like that. Now time to go into the main focus of this illustration, this young girl here. And I decided to use my Copic markers because, like I said before, I was using mixed media card, so I really wanted to make this a sort of mixed media style storybook kind of illustration. I wanted it to be like detailed as well, but sort of soft looking, and I really thought that, you know, with my colored pencils, watercolors, and also my markers, I would be able to achieve that really nicely, and I think it went pretty well. So after that, I decided just to refine some little details here and there with my pencils. I added a little bit of highlights with some whites and yellows to her hair, to sort of give it a sort of golden like shine, in like from the sun kind of look. And yeah, after that I went in with the flowers and used a few different green colors just for the flower stems. Now after that, just little details here and there, and also little sun ray parts, and yeah, I think we are done for this illustration. So I actually really love this drawing. I think it is simple and kind of basic, however that's kind of the style I was going for, because I kind of wanted to give it a storybook vibe type thing. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this illustration. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe and hit that little bell icon to be notified when I upload, which is twice a week, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone!